Namaste, everyone, and welcome to Anchor the Light. I know it's been a while. I've been traveling, and this week I'm in Tony Robbins' event. So I just make sure I, squeeze some time here that we can share more insights. And today, it's something that's very dear to my heart because oftentimes we get stuck with external, what do you call this? Certificates, external shows of, oh, you have a title and everything. And so this one is quite simple. It says, saving a person's life is better than building a 7-story Buddhist pagoda or a temple. So what happens is the pagoda or the church, temple, whatever spiritual center we build, is a physical representation. So you have people that have, big titles, a nice place. The question is, what's in the heart? So this reminds me of a story, which a lot of you have heard of, in the Bible, where Jesus was healing on the Sabbath, and the guys who are in charge of the temple says, hey, you should not be working. They were criticizing, condemning him, because he healed the guy whose hand was withered. So he said, what's more important? Healing this person or following your law? And it's very, very important for us to understand that compassion is actually the highest form of spiritual practice. And I remember my teacher many years ago used to tell us, he said, there are people out there with titles, with names, with presence. The question is, are they serving those people who really need it? And then he proceeded to tell us, he said, service is very, very important because it brings out the goodness within you. In other words, you do your meditation, we do our practice, we do our chanting, we do all these spiritual practices. That's great and wonderful. So big aura, big chakras, okay. Your aura is clean, your spiritual connection is huge. What are you going to do with it? And he said, what are you going to do with the big aura and big chakras? You going to parade it around? Master, no, because most people probably can't see it. This is exactly the point. So service is a way for us to externalize the goodness within us. And I remember what he used to tell us, that service comes in two types, yang and yin. The yin-yang symbol in the Chinese tradition. It says yang is energy. Yin is the form. Okay. And he said, in ancient times, there are two types of monks. The ones that live and just stay in the monastery, they generate massive amount of spiritual energy through meditation, and they project the blessings to the village below. That's yang type of service, yang in terms of energy. And then the second type of monk don't stay in the monastery. They go down to the village, and what do? They do healing, they do counseling, they help people in need, they live with the poor, and they beg for food, beg for resources for them to survive. And he said, both do service. One uses energy. The other form of service is actually getting dirty. When I say dirty, as in, out there with people who are suffering. And he said something very interesting, which my teacher, he would often say, he said, look, do you know why they have to beg for food and money? And we're sitting there, well, so they survived? No, that's only part of it. Because they could stay in the temple, and the temples usually have donations and everything for them to eat and take care of their daily needs. Why would they go down to the village and beg? You know what he said? To give the people an opportunity to open their heart. And I heard about that, and I'm going, wow, I never thought of it that way. I thought as we give, we're doing the monk a favor. Yeah, you help them survive, but it actually, as we give, we're the ones who are benefiting. And I thought about it, I go, that's a good point. Because when you give, you activate your heart. If this person who is suffering is not there, we don't have an outlet. And then my teacher proceeded to say, he said, rapid and safe spiritual development is like breathing. When we do our meditation and spiritual practice, we're generating lots of spiritual energy. When we heal, when we give money to charity, when we do service, help people in need, that is the release of the energy. It's like exhaling. One without the other doesn't work. So some people, what do? They accumulate titles. I've taken every healing class. I do meditation. I go to every guru in India and everywhere else in the world. Okay, that's like inhaling. The question is, what the heck do you do with it? Am I supposed to do something? Yeah, it's like inhale. What do you have to do? You have to exhale. How do you exhale? We do service. Volunteering your time in homeless shelters. Volunteering time at your spiritual place, be it a temple, mosque, church, spiritual center, whatever it is. Feeding hungry people, giving money to charity. That is the exhaling part, the releasing. And some people, they go the other extreme, the other direction. They complain, oh, I give so much, I give my time, my money, and everything else, but I'm getting drained and tired. So the question I would ask him is, okay, are you taking time to have proper nutrition, rest, and exercise? Are you doing your meditation to recharge yourself? No, I'm so busy serving. Well, that means you keep exhaling, but you're not inhaling. Of course you're going to be drained. Oh. See my point? You need both. Now, I just want to share a story with you, which is quite interesting. I just shared it a few weeks ago in a class. There's this guy, I was teaching panic healing. This is about 20-some years ago. There's this guy who walks in the room, okay, before class, and he starts name dropping. Oh, I've been to this guru and that guru. I've been to this temple. It starts name dropping temples and gurus in India. And of course, in the back of my mind, I go, okay, it's one of those. I'm surprised that your head is big and the door is big enough for your head to get through the door, right? So I said, okay, namaste, have a seat. And during a break, during a class, I would just do a quick scan to see how big his crown chakra is, because your crown chakra is your indicator of how spiritually connected you are, right? Okay, big crown chakra, etc., etc. Great. And then after that, I go, okay, well, just watch you. So he's in class, and he would always share with people how much he knows, etc., etc. Great. Okay, whatever. Now, here's the interesting part. There's another kid, not in the same class, but a different one, who attended class just because he wants to heal his mother for whatever problem. And during break, same thing, I would just do a quick scan. His crown is not that big, so. A year later, I met both of them in the class. So I said, hey, how you doing? And so I just scanned the first guy. His crown, his chakra is about the same. The second one, the kid, whose chakras were very small because he's just new, hasn't done much, the chakras are bigger. I go, how did that happen? Then I inquired further. I realized that this kid, after taking the class, not only was he working on his mom, he was also taking the time to volunteer at healing clinics, giving money to charity, feeding the hungry people. So his chakras were actually bigger in 1 year. He overtook the guy who's been doing spiritual work for 20, 30 years. Interesting, isn't it? So, essentially, compassion is the higher form of spiritual practice. All right? Namaste. I hope you got something out of it. And we'll see you next Anchor the Light. I have a call coming.